next is an talk to Tony Lawlor, and you've 8 minutes.
Yeah, thanks very much, Cathaoirleach. First of all, Minister, I a number of weeks ago, about 6 weeks ago, my staff made an appointment for a mother to come in to visit me, and I thought it was just a routine case of a disability allowance, that she was looking for assistance in that. And when she sat down in front of me and relayed a horrific tale about her daughter, and this happened, her daughter was abused about 25 years ago, and she was now currently in the psychiatric ward in Naas Hospital. And as a result of the abuse, the daughter looked inward, became depressed, turned to alcohol. And it's one of the things that struck me was the abuse that happened at that moment in time was a very physical and traumatic experience. But it was the effect that it had on that young girl's life, that for the whole of her life was destroyed by a half an hour bad experience with someone she trusted. And that's why I feel that this piece of legislation and this amendment that we're bringing before the people is so important, that we have to protect that person who was put in a situation where she trusted someone and was abused by that person, that we can do something to at least help alleviate that sort of problem that might have for the future children. It's sad to say that that person will suffer for the rest of her life, but there are so many people out there that this piece of legislation, this amendment to this constitution, will save, will take that abusive pain away from them by maybe, and we're only talking about a very, very small amount of people, because most children, virtually all children, live in a loving, caring family. And what I've noticed too as well, that when I've done my research on it, that 1/3 of those people, young children that are in care and are in foster care, happen to be in foster care with a relative. And I came across that too as well during the summer, where a sister of a mother who ended up in psychiatric care took on the 4 children and looked after them. I know we had a problem with the state trying to give them as much assistance as possible, but there the family unit, the broader family unit, stepped in and helped that mother, and hopefully those 4 children will be back with their mother shortly when she has herself sorted out. But it's that sort of care and feeling that this amendment brings to the Constitution that we have to look after. I think, Minister, you are right when you stated that this amendment does help now, but it is for future generations, that we can prevent the small number of abusive people and help children as much as possible. That's why I very much warmly welcome the bill. I know the bill has been in sort of fermentation for a long period of time. I know 20 years ago there was one of the first committees were set up and a report was done. I must say there was great work done by your own colleague Mary O'Rourke and Barry Andrews in bringing the joint committee in 2007 and bringing forward a lot of the ideas that you and Fairness Minister have taken on board with this amendment to the Constitution. The sad part, it took so long, but I think we've got it right by listening to those reports, reading those reports, and taking the positive things that came out of it over the period of time. I feel too as well what you've considered too greatly in this amendment to the Constitution is that the centre part of a child's life is the family, and to try to keep the child in the family as much as possible. I must say I welcome the adoption bill that's associated with this, and I'm going to quote from a section, not in the bill, but in some information I found, that the policies and the practices of those people who are working with children now, HSE, care workers, social workers and professionals too as well, is the whole focus is the child is kept in the family as much as possible. They provide the help and support to parents, and that's important for us in the state too as well, that where parents have difficulty in the skill of parenting, that we give them as much support as possible. And the last thing we want to do, and anyone wants to do, is to remove a child from its family. And I've mentioned earlier on too as well, is that it's not the family itself, but it's also the broader family that comes to the help of young children too as well. I also must say I'm very understanding the fact that the foster family is now being recognised too as well. And obviously there's a lot of children go into foster care for short periods of time, a couple of months, 2 or 3 months and things like that. But there are children being moved from one foster family to another foster family, and that doesn't help them either too as well. And the most important thing as for a young person growing up is stability, whatever form it might, stability. And the fact that a foster couple, some of them, many of them, have children of their own, and they're willing to take on another child, would love to be able to adopt that child in a situation where the family, the home, the biological family is not capable of looking after the child. And the fact that the foster parent, who may have the child for 5, 6, 7 years, now has the opportunity to adopt it, I think it's very welcome in the legislation. I'm also pleased to say that the voice of the child is now being heard. You've mentioned many of the adoptions that are taking place within foster families is children of 15, 16, 17. They're mature at that stage. They're able to make their own decisions and making their own life choices. 18, they're allowed voice. 16, they're allowed consent to have sex. So there's an awful lot of young person. And the fact that they're not being heard as to where their future wants to be with their family, their foster family, prior to this has been disappointing. So, Minister, I congratulate you on the work you've done so far on this referendum. I'm delighted to see cross-party support here for that. And I look forward to canvassing positively, very positively, for this referendum on the 10th of November. Thank you.